This is Brian Schwartz with PubWriter.com, and I wanted to just give you guys a little bit of an overview with one of my partners, Mike Hotchkiss, who's been helping me with building some PubWriter sites for clients and helping guide some folks. But the intent of today's quick overview is just to tell you a little bit about some of the benefits and why PubWriter may be a good solution for you. So if you don't mind, we're just going to have a conversation and you guys can listen in. So Mike's, this is the main PubWriter.com site, and what I wanted to show you was how it looks on a mobile device. One of the things we worked on for a long time was to get a version of this that worked well on a mobile device, which has the drop-down menu. So this is what it would look like on a mobile device, and you can see all the text is reflowed and easy to read, and then of course this is what it looks like on a regular website. So the nav bar across the top here, as you can see, sticks to the top, so people can always get back to it. We've kept it simple by design, but I'll show you a few other ways we can tweak it a little bit. And some of the styling, you know, we're building some basic styling that we want to stick with, but we can customize colors. You can customize the background. As you can see, this is a moving background. I'll show you one where we actually have, I think it's right here, where you can actually have a video running in the background. As you see there, this is actually a live video that's running behind the PubWriter page. So the possibilities are fairly endless. And then this is one where the background is matching the background that's used in the cover of the book. So a lot of our initial clients are definitely going to be authors, but I just like the way there's a consistent look and feel. And we can also customize the fonts. And we'll go into that a little bit more, but basically it's a common look and feel, and it's a consistent to the book or your branding, because fonts and colors and backgrounds are kind of the key to branding yourself. The other thing is what makes this technology, I think, really unique. It's the first time I've ever seen anything where there's nothing to upload. You essentially work on a page. So for example, this is a page using a free software called Markdown Pad. And this page here, it looks a little different here because it's using a different theme, but this page is reflected right here on this page. I'm going to bring up the live page version of this. So this is a letter we're sending out to query for producers, for a query for an author. And I've got some things in here that say, though, we needed to make a change. So for example, we wanted this to be bold. We would just apply the bold, and we're going to go ahead and click save. Actually, I'm going to turn off this preview. It's using something called Markdown, which is a very basic form of, well, it's a very low-level HTML. You don't need to really be intimidated by it. You'll learn it fairly quickly. Mike, I mean, you came up to speed on it fairly quickly. And this page has some additional HTML, which makes it a little fancier, some things you can do. But I'll show you what a basic page looks like. But here's what is really cool. So we just made this change where we wanted to bold Dear Agent Producer. All I need to do now is click save. And in about 30 seconds, the changes that we made will be reflected on the website. There's nothing that you have to upload. And where this file resides is in your Dropbox. So if we look at where it's at, you're going to have access to your Dropbox, where all of your web pages are stored. And again, this MD is marked down, and we can get into that later in another video. But the beauty is all of this resides on your Dropbox, which makes it very safe, secure, and you're backed up. By virtue of you clicking save, the file is backed up, and you never have to worry about losing any of your files. So now let's go back and reload this page here. And when we do, you'll see now it updated this to bold. And I mean, this goes for any changes you make on the page, and there's nothing to upload. You simply click save to publish. That's one of the beautiful things about it. As I mentioned, everything's backed up on Dropbox. everything. We'll get into the Markdown idea later, because I think the best way to describe Markdown is that it's jailbroken content. So if you've ever heard the concept of jailbreaking like an iPhone, you're essentially making it available so that it can work with any network. And there's people who have, offer a service of jailbreaking people's phones so that they can use it with any other service. And if you look on Amazon, you'll find examples of people selling jailbroken devices. Well, the thing about content and when you write is that if you write in one particular piece of software, you're limited to a lot of the formatting and the issues that revolve around you having to use that software to always work with the content. The beauty with Markdown is it works with hundreds of different web apps, hundreds of different apps for your computer. It's basically an open sourced type of language, and it really is. It's open source, and you can look it up, and we'll show some examples. The reason I'm telling you that is because whatever you build here, you're going to be able to move to any other platform that supports Markdown. And there are, like I said, hundreds. Tumblr is one that supports Markdown. WordPress supports Markdown. And the beauty is all you need to do is copy and paste what you've already created into those platforms. So Markdown is one of the other key things. And then the reason why this site has a lot of slick tools, and actually, let me see if it's on this page. Let's go to the showcase.
Brian, if I can just interject a thought about this along the same lines for those listening that may not be as familiar with terms like HTML and platforms and whatnot, that effectively what this does is it's like a folder on your computer. You open the folder, you open the document you want to modify, you modify it, you save it, and you're done. It's not that complicated. It's not going into a litany of understanding program knowledge and whatnot. There are some tricks to it, and again, I think Brian's going to bring it up in future conference, is that allow you a little more imagination to it. But as far as just putting down your words, it's as simple as opening up your computer, whether it's a Word document or not. You type in what you want to do, you make your format changes, click save, and you're done.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike. And this is the folder that contains the website that is posted at mvgarrison.com. So Mark has the author, the owner of this website, has access to all of these Dropbox files. And if he wants to make a change, all he has to do is open up one of the pages. And for example, index is the home page. And if he opens it up on his computer, whatever software he prefers to use, and like I said, you can use dozens of different tools to work in this, but anything that's basically a plain text writer, this is where he would update his home page and any changes he makes. And the thing that really what drove me to develop PubWriter is because as someone who works with lots of authors, and we do the formatting and the conversion and the setup and all the work for the authors, they would inevitably come back to me with changes the moment they sent me the document or sent me the email. And that was very painful, continues to be very painful. And I've always wanted to give them the ability to make changes whenever they woke up in the middle of the night and they realized they wanted to say something a different way. Well, PubWriter allows them to do that. So yeah, it's all basically based on a Dropbox folder. There's no hosting you have to worry about. There's nothing. The thing I was going down, Mike, for some folks that might be interested, is that the back end of PubWriter is built on something called Bootstrap. And Bootstrap is the most widely adopted engine, if you will, for websites today. It's actually surpassed WordPress now because it's a lot more rock solid. It's not susceptible to hackers. It allows people the engine has far more functionality and it's much more open source as far as there's tons of tools. So you can create buttons on your website using the Bootstrap button generator. Very easy to do. And there's tons of tools like this website that you can use, and anything that works in Bootstrap will work in PubWriter. And I'm only telling you that because it gives you lots of opportunities. Now, formatting, again, we're still keeping formatting very simple. Mike has spent a lot of time on the sites he's worked on doing some customization to show you basically what you can do. Again, the responsive aspect is very important, because if somebody's looking at this page on a smaller screen, and today the statistics are that more than 50% of all web traffic comes from a mobile device. So you got to make sure that if you've got images, that those images scale to the screen size, and that if you've got a menu, that menu scales to the screen size. And again, Mike's site is a little bit more involved. For example, he's got chapters to all of his stories, which is in a drop-down, which is very slick. But you don't need to do that. Again, most authors will start with a very basic website and just enough to get the information out there. Let's go back to the showcase and just look at some other examples. So Guts and Gumships we've been looking at. We built this ministry site for Alonzo. You can check all these out at PubWriter.com. This one is even more basic, and we'll probably enhance it a little bit more, but Terry's got big buttons across the top, so it makes it really quick and easy. But you can plug anything into it. I was referring to PubWriter as like a web canvas, because this, for example, is just some very basic code, embedded code from Imgur, so that you can have a very fast loading website. And what the beauty of using other websites to embed the content and use the engines that they provide is that all of the overhead associated with running this is off of your website and being hosted somewhere that's far more suited to handle the bandwidth that's required here. So your website will always load super fast and never be basically at the whims of having to preload content, having to have enough horsepower in the back end to run particular scripts and things that would potentially slow down your website. Because if somebody clicks on a website and it takes more than 5 seconds to load, or even 3 seconds to load, there's a good chance that they're going to click away. And all the PubWriter sites are static pages. So once the page is posted, it's a static page, and you can look that up, but basically what that means is it loads extremely fast. And the beauty is, you can do anything you really want. It's all going to be linear. We don't have a lot of boxes and things to move around, but that's really by design, so that it works seamlessly on all devices. And this really came from my experience in working with ebooks, because when we design an ebook and build an ebook, it's got to be compatible with so many different readers, and readers that haven't even been designed yet. I'm doing some fancy things on this site, the Read to Music, and it allows you to use, so Chrome has become fairly standard as the preferred browser that a lot of people are using. If you're not using Chrome, I think you're going to find life a little simpler when you do. The beauty of Chrome is there's a couple things that you can use. There's an auto scroll extension, and these are all free and available at the Chrome App Store. But for example, if you want to play this song on the ukulele, come to this page and you can hit play and the music will start, and then you can turn on auto scroll. So this way you don't have to take your hands off the ukulele
Spider John is my name
while you're playing the ukulele.
I'm in between frets and a show.
Now, you can.
There also are options to adjust the speed of which that scrolls.
If you want it to go faster, there's medium, depending on the speed. And if you want it to go really fast, but hands-free. That's the beauty. And when you're reading, I mean, for example, let's go back to your site, Mike. So I think the beauty, and this functionality isn't even really available on ebook readers for the majority of them. Let's say we want to read this first story, and I just want to kick back and read the story. So I might speed it up a little bit, and you can scroll down a little bit more. Let's get to the story. Okay. So it's basically allowing you to read again at your pace. The other thing that's interesting to note on this site is Mike has embedded a PDF file very cleanly. So if you've got PDF pages you want to view, you can embed those right onto your website. And this is cool because this is an artifact from the original story that Mike is talking about here. The other thing is if you're tired and you don't want to read it, all you got to do is highlight the text. And if you've got this free plugin installed, it's called Voice Instead, just right click and you click Voice Instead. And it's going to start
An
reading
army
this
of
page.
hundreds of thousands using every imaginable resource, both natural and created, plus those for war-specific needs means lots of stuff. These things require an
So
army of hundreds of thousands using every
let's see if I can stop that. Yeah. So Voice Instead is again another plugin available, and I've got a tutorial here. I'll put this up, but I've got a page where I basically will walk you through where to go to get all these plugins, and basically it's going to walk your readers through. So we'll have a page on your website, on your PubWriter site, that explains how to get these. So again, this is the auto scroll. This is the Voice Instead, and then the one I also use a lot is the Send to Kindle. So if you want to push this page to your Kindle, just click on the, whoops, let's try that one. Just click on the Send to Kindle, and it will format the page beautifully, and you can send this to your Kindle device and read it there. Again,
Also at no cost and without adding anything to the website itself. It's a plugin from that you just have as on your toolbar to use.
Right. This is all included, and this is sort of like the open source. My manifesto for this essentially talks about how the idea behind PubWriter is to essentially provide your readers open access to your book. And if we go back to one strategy you can use, kind of what Mike's looking at doing here initially, is until he gets a publisher for this book, he's able to make some money on ads that he's running on this book. So if you're spending time and energy driving people to your website, and you want to make a little money off the website, one thing you can do is integrate ads into your page. So again, this just helps an author get paid for their work, because I think that in the future, the ebooks that we're going to be reading are going to be ad supported, just like apps are today. So we got the video, and then
This also is.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to add, Brian, that all this stuff is optional and up to the author to control. Ultimately, in my particular case, once the book is finalized and published, my intention is to not have any ads on the site. Currently, the ads are very innocuous. They're at the bottom of the page. They're not splattered all over the sides that get in the way of your reading experience. And if you once you scroll down to the bottom of the page, there's a little thing there, and I don't think it's as intrusive. But you also don't have to do that. You
Right.
can not be an ad-free site, or if you prefer, you can also put ads all up and down the sides, or as many as you want, if you want to generate revenue in that regard. And what this also leads to is Brian brings up, there's so many powerful tools you can use with this. And I think if you're a first-time listener, it all sounds so intimidating. A lot of this stuff in the initial setup of the website, give us a color, give us a theme, give us fonts, and it's all gets set up for you. Then you can go back and then you could do your edits and whatnot. You could say, I'd really like to add this add-in, which could be part of the initial package. It could be something you add in later. And if you're not have the capability or wherewithal to do so, that's something that can be done by through PubWriter, through Brian.
Right, yeah, and we basically include some time for Mike or someone like Mike to help you get your site set up so it looks the way you like it, and then again, you can go and make changes. Mike, I wanted to show you, I was playing around with this website here, and the scroll bar is very easy to do, but this is more of a subtle way to make money on marketing, and this is used all over the internet, but essentially you've got it can be a link anywhere on the page. In this case, it's a scrolling link, which is easy to put in. I'll show you how. But when somebody clicks on this, they go to Amazon. Well, if they happen to buy this $49 crock pot, I'm going to get about a 7% commission on the price that they pay for this. So, Mike, you've got tons of opportunities within your page if you need to. And again, this is just an alternative option for authors to earn a little money from their writing, is that you've got
those Amazon ads. All those Amazon ads, they're the same thing. If someone actually clicks and buys the thing, I would get some money for that.
Right. So if you were to reference a book, for example, here, and you've got a bunch of links here. For example, somebody is interested in buying this book. They could click on here. If it could take them to Amazon. It could take them anywhere where you might earn an affiliate commission on referring the business. But I mean, there's really no limit to the number of links you could put in here. I really like the way you did this, just like a Wikipedia page, where people want to find out more information. This is going to help them dive deep into it. And let's say one of these links change. Here's the classic scenario. In the classic website, you would have to call your web guy and tell him, oh man, the link to General Mark Clark is no longer valid. Can you update it or remove it? And then you have to send that to him. But in the world of PubWriter, you have access to this page right in your own Dropbox. You make the change, you click save, and within 30 seconds, that change has been reflected. So it's a beautiful ability that just drives me nuts when I hear an author say that they're afraid to edit a page on their website. It just makes me cringe, because that should not be the case. You should be able to update this very, very easily. And like I said, you can use a variety of different tools. I'll make some recommendations. Back to the PubWriter site for a second. We're building out the tutorials on the support page here. And there's a way for you to submit requests for tutorial, but you'll see more and more tutorials start to come here, how to do what you need to do. And if for some reason you run into something that you can't figure out, or you've opened up a new potential issue or something we need to work on, I'll create a tutorial and put it there. I mean, really every possible scenario. For example, here, if you want to put a countdown timer on your site, and when possible, I'll even link to examples of how the different countdown timers work. So here on Mike's page, I just put this up, but you can see a couple different versions of that countdown timer. For example, you might want to count down till your book launch. There's a variety of different things, but it's all within the support page of different things you can do. This is where I go into markdown formatting. So I've got a tutorial on the different software that we use, some tutorials. I mean, there really is a wealth of information out there, and rest assured, you're going to find one that suits your needs. Doesn't need to cost you anything. There are some of these tools you can pay for, but you don't have to. But anyway, I think that kind of what I wanted to do today. This call's gone a little bit longer than I planned on, Mike, but I just wanted to share with authors what some of the perks were and benefits of using PubWriter. Was there anything that you can think of that I left out?
I just think to reemphasize the fact, the simplicity, the simple nature of it, even though there was a lot of stuff covered here, and there were a lot of, it's probably words that people haven't heard before. At the end of the day, once you learn a couple of little things about language and how these things work, it literally is no different than editing documents. It's really quite simple, and you have the freedom to do so when you want, how you want. You're not at the mercy of a publisher or an editor making changes for you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike. And we've been using this tool for beta testing it for over 6 months, making sure that it's rock solid, that pages aren't crashing, that we've been just ironing out the wrinkles. So we're pretty much ready to launch it now. I still have on my website where you can sign up to request an invitation to be a initial user, but this is probably going to be off by the time you watch this video, and we'll have information on how to subscribe. And I certainly stand behind, if this isn't the right tool for you, within the first 30 days, I'm happy to refund anything that you paid for it and get you on your way, because I don't want you to be stuck with something that you're not going to use. But I think that if you're willing to give it at least, a little bit of time learning the tool, just like you would any tool, you're going to find that it's extremely flexible, powerful, and well worth it. So
cost effective.
Very cost effective.
I mean, publish a book, and that's not cheap, and this is really cost effective.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why that screen keeps popping up, but anyway, contact us through PubWriter.com, and we'll get you on your way. Again, this is Brian Schwartz, and that was Mike Hotchkiss signing off until the next video. Thanks, guys.